Welcome to LEL1 Solutions' reply to Queensland Health's request for proposal. We are here today to briefly introduce our company and to introduce Queensland Health's objectives through this request for proposal. We're also just going to talk about the objectives of the proposal itself, what we propose to implement, and how this will impact Queensland Health positively. Now, looking at Queensland Health's mission statement, how the organization has set up, I can see that they have discussed in detail about 17 hospitals and health services to create a dynamic organization that's committed to providing various range of services that its ultimate goal is to achieve good health and well-being for all of Queenslanders. So really, taking from the objectives that Queensland Health has released through the Blueprint for Better Health that was released earlier this year, one of the bigger things that we want to definitely help take off that list is the objective that you want to ensure that you are no longer ranked as the second most inefficient provider of health services. In the interim of the same objective, there's also things such as increasing the productivity and acceptance of underperforming Queensland Health business units, more efficient control and care through scalable management resources, and things such as taking away the myth that hospital success is measured just by the amount of employees and beds it holds, and there are other services that we can offer to increase frontline help. And there's also things like mitigating the culture that has created a closed door to private sector investment, and how this extra amount of funds can realistically help create a much better healthcare process. Now, what I'd like to do is introduce Michael, who will talk about one of the proposed tools, which is Twitter.
Right, one of the Enterprise 2.0 implementations we propose to help with several identified Queensland Health objectives are live Twitter handles. So 3 live Twitter handles will be created: Queensland Health Rural, Queensland Health New Mothers, and Queensland Health Hospital News. One of the main objectives Queensland Health have at the moment are that rural and remote communities are condemned to declining services and lack of access to skilled clinicians. The live Twitter handle Queensland Health Rural will be used to offer a service to people who normally would not be able to have access to clinicians. People will be able to ask questions to trained doctors, receiving simple answers. The Queensland Health New Mums Twitter handle will be a wealth of information and tips for new mothers. Each day there will be a go live time from 10 till 2 where new mothers and experts will be able to answer questions for new mothers. And the third Twitter handle, Queensland Health Hospital News, will cover breaking news around Australia regarding hospital wait times and an analysis of things that have happened in the past as to whether there will be bigger wait times in certain times of the year. So the implementation of these 3 Twitter handles is very cost effective and will provide an information and medical service to thousands, if not millions, of Queenslanders. It's a very easy to use website for all people and will remove geolocational boundaries. I'll now hand you over to Nico, who will talk about our blog.
So another asset or tool that LEL1 Solutions will be implementing is the use of blogs, or in this case, public-facing blogs. So this concept of a public-facing blog, or just blogging in general, isn't a new one, especially in an industry, but it is particularly new for Queensland Health. There is a few blogs floating around, but it'd be really good to condense those and get them all under the one house to get a set of objectives lined out for them. For public blogs and their public-facing blogs, it will be an internally moderated avenue of communication between the business, which is Queensland Health, and the community. Using Queensland Health as more of a case study, the benefits will be numerous. There will be a range of blogs, probably 2 to 3, to keep it nice and easy and contained. The important issues such as for new mothers, upcoming seasons like flu seasons, and even a general health and well-being section, or what's coming up at the hospital. For this, the benefits of said system, it'll build a lot of rapport with the community and bring a little bit of trust back to the industry. Touching on one of the objectives of Queensland Health as it is, we'd really love to see that our standing in the community jump from second last to first. It'll be used to increase transparency and supplement concurrent rollouts of other social technologies, such as those Twitter handles. They can talk very well to each other. Community involvement as a whole would be increased. This could be through open discussions, through having experts come in for weekly blogs on special topics, things like that. And it's also a means of feedback for the community to feel that they can become, once again, involved in the direction and means of Queensland Health generally. We found that hospitals are generally a very reactive service, and this turns this concept on its head and makes them a very preventative source of trustworthy information. I'll now hand you over to Chris, who will talk about the proposed internal wiki.
So another platform LEL Solutions is proposing to implement is a wiki site for the use of internal Queensland Health staff to utilise to cut down on the time wasted in knowledge audit by providing a highly open wiki platform for staff to communicate and collaborate information internally. By using the wiki site, less information and time will be wasted sitting in inboxes. For example, staff looking for stock market statistics will be able to get it from the internal wiki instead of having to email several people or resort to using mailing lists. This will help alleviate the current problem Queensland Health is facing regarding employees not sharing information by improving the methods of communication between employees. I'll now hand you over to James to talk about the feature of the wiki called the Idea Bank.
Another item that is proposed for Queensland Health to implement is an Idea Bank portal. An Idea Bank is an alternative to the traditional top-down style of approaching innovation within the workplace or within a corporation. One of the most common practices with innovation for new revenue streams are for small teams of higher management to think of innovation and to ultimately push it down throughout the corporation. An Idea Bank, on the other hand, is a tool which allows all employees to input their thoughts and ideas to a central location where users can view and vote on different ideas, which will allow the highly innovative ideas to become more predominant. The strategic advantages of the implementation of an Idea Bank portal are as follows. Firstly, there will be the increased innovation input by employees. And secondly, there will be the addition of sources of revenue by utilizing the private sector of the health industry and selling potentially predominant ideas to that private sector. I will now pass it back to Colin for the conclusion.
So you might be wondering how we're going to be able to take all of these tools and sit them together. This will be done through a particular tool called OmniSocial Engaged, which will allow the organization, Queensland Health, to be able to sit there, be able to generate reports from numbers. This will do various things. For example, you can track the amount of which blogs are most popular, which will give you information such as which topics to continue to expand on or potentially invest research in. It will also, in terms of wikis, this will help you understand and see what type of information people access on a near daily basis and why people need to access that. And lastly, as far as the Idea Bank is concerned, this will help private investors to be able to log into this portal, see which ideas they like, and you'll be able to track which ones you gain the most traction. So you can start targeting investments and even creating other requests for proposals from them directly. As far as LEL Solutions is concerned, we believe that we can be a very good intermediary between the vendor and yourselves. This way we will be able to project, install, and implement the tool within a reasonable time frame as found within the proposal itself.